Okay, this is actually kind of funny, but I wasn't expecting how much my trainer's hair and outfit were going to blend in so beautifully with this background. Hey guys, it's Skymer here, and welcome back to another episode of my Scarlet and Violet upcoming team review for my tournament, and I always mess up the wording on that. My team summaries for my upcoming tournament. There we go, we got it eventually, right? In the last episode, we went over teams 10 through 12, which were, wow, I just did this recording before this one, and I already forgot the names. Greatest Possessions, Frosted Aches, and Team Charm. Yes, I was looking through my notebook with all my notes in it. Because I don't know how to frickin' remember anything sometimes. So, in this episode, we are going to be going over teams 13 through 15 as per usual. So, team number 13 is going to be called the False Beach Party. So, the False Beach Party is our final weather varianted team, and that's going to be the Sandstorm. Sandstorm has an incredible way of being able to, and yes, I have a shiny Hippowdon. I literally have no idea how it happened because shiny Hippopotas looks basically just like regular Hippopotas, and it was my first encounter in the desert in this game. It was my very, very first encounter. It was my first random shiny encounter, like full odds shiny, since Gen 5, which I think was black and white. And I found like a full odds shiny Blitzel. But, so if that goes to show how much I do shiny hunting, well, there you go. So Sandstorm is probably my least favorite out of all the weather forms, personally. I do like how they give rock types a special defense buff. So they kind of like have the opposite effect of snow for ice types. But I don't really run a whole lot of rock types. In this particular, on this particular team. So I really want to try to highlight what this team is all about. So a lot of this team, or at least a couple members of it, are going to center around this beautiful Pokemon right here, Orthworm. So Orthworm has a very cool signature ability that's called Earth Eater. If it's hit by a ground type move, the Pokemon has its HP restored instead of taking damage. So I have not one, but 2 Pokemon with Earthquake on this team. So it's going to be pretty fun to be able to proc Earthworm's healing. In addition, it also has Shed Tail, so it will cut its HP in half to switch out to any Pokemon in the wings, and will instantly give it a substitute, which is absolutely amazing. Another way that we're actually going to be able to reduce the damage on the allies is by having Mouse Hold. I can't hear its cry, it's so quiet. But Mouse Hold comes along with the loaded dice for its signature move, Population Bomb. Population Bomb is a move that can hit up to 10 times in a row. I do understand this is probably better for Technician builds, because that would power up Population Bomb naturally, but I really like the idea of Friend Guard. I like Friend Guard a lot, just reduces flat out damage dealt to the allies. And being able to do things like charm opponents and use Protect and all this other kind of crap just kind of keeps Mouse Hold around and just be freaking annoying as all get out. So there's a lot of Pokemon that are very, very bulky on this team. Very, very defensive. Garganacl with 152 defense, Sandaconda with 139, Orthworm with, obviously it's level 75, so it has significantly higher defense. But you know what I mean. There's a lot of Pokemon with a lot of bulk, a lot of HP, a lot of defense, stuff like that. So against physical attackers, these Pokemon are going to have a grand old time. But my Sandaconda is a very interesting build. This is the first time that I've ever had a red card on a Pokemon. I actually really like the red card. If the holder is damaged by an attack, the mysterious power of this card can remove the attacker from the battle. So combine this with its Sand Spit ability that as soon as it takes damage, it spawns a Sandstorm. It's also going to trigger a switch. And that's very interesting because the incoming Pokemon is going to start taking that recurring damage from that sandstorm while also getting a Pokemon off the field at the same time. So I like to combine this effect with like Sand Attack and Minimize to just really control the accuracy game and make this yet another dodge build, or at least in hopes that that happens. So, Thunderbird here, or my Kilowattrel, is a Pokemon that's going to hold the safety goggles, and this allows it to be able to protect it from sandstorm damage and the effects of powders and spores. So that's actually kind of nice. So it can't be put into like sleep powder or poison powder. They won't affect them, and regular spore from like a Moongus will never affect it. I really like this Pokemon because I really, I want, besides Earthworm, I want a second Pokemon that's going to be able to take, have a good support Pokemon alongside an Earthquake Pokemon. I want to make sure that Thunderbird will never be hurt by the Sandstorm or by Earthquake. That's a big part of this team. And so Mousehold has Protect, so it can protect on Earthquake turns and stuff like that. So basically every Pokemon on this team in combination with something, either I'm not using Earthquake because of like Sandaconda or Hippowdon being on the field with like say Garganacl, or vice versa. So I really just want this team to really focus on dealing heavy amounts of splash damage with those Earthquakes and all kinds of stuff. Also, Earthworm has Smackdown. This is kind of a tech move that I wanted to try, because if the opponent has a levitating Pokemon or a Pokemon that flies, you can use Smackdown to make them vulnerable to ground-type moves. It makes them susceptible to them. So that's kind of nice. So here is our team review. It happened again, guys. Now there is a sandstorm blowing in my freaking face. I guess this is what I get for saying that I'm gonna blend in with the environment. Sandstorm's like, nah, not today. My trainer is not having a good day today, but boy, is that view great. Alright, so, now on to team number 14. And this one is going to be called the Dreaded Squares. Give me one moment. I would say all stats in Pokemon are important, but one of the most important for changing the tide of battle is the speed stat. Obviously, with speed determining how soon that your Pokemon is going to go in a turn is very, very important. So for this next single battle, we're going to be utilizing a very special move, featuring one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, Miss Hatterene. Madame Hatterene is just amazing. What a spectacle of beauty and power. Trick Room is going to be what this team is based around. It creates a bizarre area in which slower Pokemon get to move first. So this particular battle is all about utilizing the benefits of having slow Pokemon and being able to take advantage of that. So there are 2 Trick Room setters on this team, and that's going to be with Liberty, my Bronzong, and Coco, my Hatterene. So the biggest thing that I can say is that when you combine Pokemon that can go first in a battle, you can really, really change the tide of it. If Trick Room is not on the field, the Quick Claw on my Clodsire here is going to be able to do some pretty good work. Because despite whether or not that Trick Room is on the field, it can still move first, which I really, really like that versatility. So I'm actually running both the forms of Quagsire, almost kind of like a pain of homage to the doppelgangers that we went over with in episode 1. But one of the most interesting synergies that I'm going to attempt sometimes is Vespiquen. I know that Bug Flying type is notorious for being one of the worst type combinations in the game. But I decided to make this Pokemon a Rock Terra because the Queen deserves a temple or a palace on top of her freaking head, okay? She's the Queen. And that's why I have a Pasho Berry on it, because that way if it does Terrastalize, even if your opponent tries to go for a weakness against it in its new typing, it's not going to care. But it does get rid of a lot of those weaknesses that it has as a Bug Flying type to make it a Rock type. In addition, it also has access to that beautiful Power Gem that it's going to be able to buff itself with that Terra Jewel. There's really not a whole lot to explain on this team, as it's one of those that just relies on a signature move instead of like huge combinations and stuff. So here is the team review. When you hear that cry, run. All right, and now we're gonna make this, I guess, the water episode. I will see you at that waterfall all the way there in the distance. All right, and here we are underneath this beautiful waterfall that just lurks above us. All right, team number 15 is a fun one. I like this one. This team is called an Artsy Adventure. So, this team revolves around the synergies of Grafaiai's signature Doodle move, along with Slacking's Truant ability. So, Grafaiai is a very cute Pokemon, but it also is very versatile in terms of just the annoying crap that it can do to opponents. But Doodle is what this battle is really about. The user captures the very essence of the target in a sketch. This changes the ability of the user and its ally Pokemon to that of the target. So basically, when you target an opponent's Pokemon, Grafaiai and Slacking are both gonna, or whoever the Grafaiai is alongside, they're both gonna copy that ability. And this takes its Truant ability away, because normally Slacking is a very, very strong Pokemon with a ton of HP, a ton of physical attack, very, very good bulk, at least on the defensive side, and really good speed. So, and access to Slack Off, no less, for healing. So, in addition to this, when you, Truant would normally only be able to allow it to attack every other turn. But now with Doodle, to change its ability away, you get a Slacking that can now attack every turn, which makes this thing a monster on the battlefield. I also wanted to combine the Doodle abilities with abilities that either I don't see as very useful all the time, and it's kind of hard to get them to work, or abilities like Intimidate, where they're used upon entry into battle, where they're not going to be useful after that ability has already been used. So, being able to change them into something that's very different is going to be interesting. So I have Switcheroo on 2 of my Grafaiai. They all have different ways that they can be annoying. So the first Grafaiai has access to Encore and Taunt. The second one has access to Switcheroo, Helping Hand, and Substitute. with the Toxic Orb. And then the last one has Switcheroo and Flatter, and that one has the Flame Orb. So they can toss over these very annoying items when they switch into battle. Their first turn, they're just going to swap this over to the opponent, and they either get burned or poisoned. Now, I'm not saying that Effect Spore is a bad ability, but it's a random status effect that can only trigger some of the time when physical attacks with contact are used against Breloom. And I just don't see the use of this all the time. So I also really, really like Breloom. I think it's a Pokemon that, I mean, like I've said before, I'm a big Gen 3 fan. So any Pokemon that's from Gen 3, I'm a little biased towards it. So, but at least the Assault Vest will help it to tank those special attacks, which a little bit better. So yeah, in addition, I do have Slacky with the weakness policy because I think that with addition to a healing move like Slack Off and Trailblaze to boost its speed, this Pokemon is going to become quite annoying if they proc the weakness policy. So gotta be really, really careful around this thing. Here's the team review for you guys. Alright, I kind of feel like sometimes these reviews go longer than I expect, and other times they're shorter than I expect. Because normally I can talk for ages and I will never stop talking. Alright, so, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. There's a TM here? Which one? I missed this? I'll take a free Encore TM any day of the week. Alright, well I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. We only have 2 more in this series from here on out, and I will see you guys in the next episode for Teams 16 through 18. Bye, guys.